Hey everybody, it's Teresa with Critters Crochet. It's Thursday. I hope you're having a great day. And I'm here today with my friend Shelly. Her and her kids live in California. They are on their way here to Ohio to see family and friends. And so they always stop by our house on the way through. So they came and they're visiting for a few days. They're going to be here till Friday morning. And so she's going to be in the video with me today. Say hi to everybody, Shelly.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, Shelly and I were babies in the crib together.
I've known Teresa since the day I was born.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, we have. Um, our parents were best friends. Their parents were friends. So our families have been friends and known each other for a long, long time. So anytime.
Our grandparents were actually neighbors out in the country, just lived a stone throw away from each other. And our parents lived 1 block away from each other. And our moms would walk to their corners and watch us walk back and forth to each other's houses. And so we grew up as neighbors. And then in 4th grade, you moved to Tennessee. And so we've been separated physically since 4th grade, but have stayed best friends our whole lives.
Yep. It's like we just pick up right where we left off when we get together again. And our kids are good friends with each other. And her kids are my kids. My kids are her kids. We're just, we just love them. And so I'm glad she's here. I'm excited. I was so excited when I got the news that they were going to stop by. And we've been wanting to do a video together. We talked about the next time I went to visit her and her kids in California that we were going to do
videos.
We were going to do videos together, and we planned out all these things. So there's something really special that we want to talk about on today's video. But I wanted to show you a few things first before we do that, because it is what we're making Thursday, and I don't have the picture. I do this every time I get on here, guys. So I'm going to pull this up real quick. I've shown it before, but just for anybody that's on here that's new, that's never been on my channel.
It's adorable. It's absolutely adorable.
Which now I can't find it. Hold on. I know where it is now. Guys have to give me a minute. Sometimes.
Should we tell them what time it is right now?
Well,
I don't know. It might be tomorrow.
We might talk about that. Tomorrow. Yeah, we might talk about that in a minute. Why can't I find this? Oh, here it is.
I'm ready when you got the picture to show.
Here it is. We are making, this is me and some other creators on YouTube. We are all working together, and we're making something different each month of the year. January was the corner to corner love blanket. I didn't get to participate in that one, but I'm doing the February project, and this is a free pattern from Yarn Inspirations. It's called It's a Hoot Owl Container, and this is what it looks like. Oop, a crazy ring camera. I'm always getting it in the shot, but no, it's fine. But there's the basket, and I haven't been able to work on it very much this week, but I'm up to 11, and I've got the base, and I've got the first row of front and back post crochets for the basket weave look. I've got that much done. So planning on having a lot more done, maybe even finished by next week. We'll see. So I've been working on that, and I don't know if you can tell, those of you who've been with me, but look at my space. What do you think? Tell me in the comments below. What do you think? Shelly and her daughter Michaela helped me get all of this organized and redone up here. We've thrown away about three bags of trash. I hate to say that, but we did. And she's helped me. She loves to organize. She loves to organize.
I do. I love to organize.
Where did you go?
I love to organize, Teresa.
I have ideas in my head of what I want things to look like, but I don't know how to make it happen.
And she has all the materials to make everything beautiful. It's just sitting in places around, and we just collect all the fun things that you have, all your treasures, and put them in a cool place.
I haven't done a vendor event in forever. It's been a long time. And one of the things we pulled out and found, she goes, Teresa, look at that. This, I forgot I even had it. That's how long it's been. So we've got that. But I love how we've got everything laid out and displayed in here for my backdrops for my videos. I've been wanting this to set up like this for a long time, and I just didn't know what to do and how to make it look right. So I was so glad Shelly was here to help me because she loves to organize. She loves to do this kind of stuff. And so, yay.
And I haven't
So
had a chance to do it ever since we moved to California like 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this big, beautiful blank wall right here. And I'm walking around the room and I'm saying, oh man, I just wish there was something to fill the space, something that just speaks Teresa and her love for yarn. And I look down and I see this folded up tarp. I'm like, what's this tarp? And we used to have one on swim team. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's from Matt's baseball days, or maybe it's from Paige's volleyball days. And I open it up. It's a giant
Critters
aha
Crochet
moment of Critters Crochet yarn.
Yeah.
And you're like, I forgot I had that.
Yeah. Yep. I do stuff like this. I don't know, what do you recall it? Anyway,
You're awesome.
And I'm going to before we get into this other thing, like I said, I showed you the basket. This is what we're making Thursday. I've got it on a list, so I have to read it off here because I don't want to leave anybody out. But there's several of us now that have joined in on this, what we're making Thursdays. And we're all just blown away by how many are joining in on this. And I'll have all of their, in the description box, I will have their names and a link to their YouTube page or channel so that you can, if you've never been on their channel, go check them out. These ladies are awesome and you need to subscribe to their channel. But we have Heather with Strings and Threads, Darla with It's in the Bag Crochet with Darla, Jenna with Jenna's Stitches, Jess from J Hook Magic, Erin Crafting Kitty, Tiffany with CMM Designs, Brandee with Bees Crafty Corner, Linda with Lefty Crochet Knit, Julia with Doodley's Crochet, aka Julia, Jecinda with SMH Crochet, and Shannon with Shannon All 12th Street. Now, I hope I said all of those correctly, and if I didn't, I'm sorry, because sometimes I don't pronounce names right. So, and like I said, I'll have their links in the description box so you can check them out. So, what we really wanted to come on here, this is what we've talked about doing for a while. We wanted to come on and share how crochet has helped us and the benefits of crochet. And I've told you guys a little bit before about my diagnosis with trigeminal neuralgia. That was back in 2014. And you guys heard this before, but if you're new, what it is you have a nerve that starts at the base of the brain. It comes up and it branches out like this, excuse me, like this in your face with 3 branches from the trigeminal nerve. And in my case, there's several things that cause the nerve to get irritated. In my case, I had a blood vessel that had enlarged and it was putting pressure on the nerve, and it causes extreme facial pain. I mean, unbearable, like I would be in the fetal position screaming facial pain. I finally have had procedures and amazing doctors that have been able to do some procedures to help me so that I'm pain free for a while. And so that's been great. But crochet came into my life at a really good time because all of these things have been scientifically proven. The benefits of crochet, they help you. It's therapeutic. It helps you relax. It helps you stay calm. They have seen when crochet is introduced to kids or young adults that have ADHD, it calms them. It controls the ADHD and their tendencies. Let's see, what else? I'm trying to think. So when I have a flare up or when I feel like something's going on and happening, I can grab my crochet and go sit in a quiet corner and crochet, and I immediately relax and I immediately feel calm. Even if maybe even if it's not trigeminal, if I just have a headache, feel like I have a headache coming on, or I'm just really stressed out, I grab my crochet and I calm. It's so calming. Something else I read too that it helps with people with, it helps to slow down the progression of Alzheimer's. What it does is when you're crocheting and those neurons in your brain are just firing off left and right, and it helps make those connections in the brain, and it does. It slows down they've shown it to slow down the progress of Alzheimer's. So I love to crochet. I could talk about crochet all day, all night. I love it.
She does
And
talk about crochet
it's
all
just
day, all night.
I just yeah. I just my husband doesn't like that sometimes,
but he loves you.
But yeah, he does. And he's proud of me and what I'm doing, and he supports me, so that means everything. But crochet is just it's therapeutic. It's very calming, and that's one reason that I love it so much. But Shelly also wants to share about how crochet has helped her. So I'm going to let her come on and tell you what.
Stay with me.
Oh, I am. I'm not leaving. I'm just scooting over a little bit. So let Shelly tell you how it's helped her.
So I've always known how to crochet. My grandma Hepburn, who loved Teresa very, very much. She's a great.
Miss her to death.
Miss
her to death.
She's a great storyteller. Well, Grandma taught me how to crochet when I was a little girl, and so I could chain stitch. I could make chains. As long as down the hallway, I'd make chains. And then she taught me how to do a single crochet backwards, forward and backwards, and then granny square. So that's kind of what I knew. And I've done a lot of other crafts over the years, cross stitching. I love to sew. Sewing's probably the thing I do the most. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And 2 years ago, just 2 days ago was my anniversary. So February 6th, I had a surprise. I woke up on February 6th, thought everything was fine, and I stood up out of my chair to say goodbye to the kids. They were going to work, and I just felt something right in the back of my head kind of pop. And I actually thought there was blood. I could feel blood. And I kept reaching back there, and I couldn't quite figure out what was happening, but I was actually having a hemorrhagic stroke in my cerebellum, right in the middle.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And I could start to feel it happen. And I was telling my kids, I'm having a stroke. Don't go to work. We're going to the hospital. So we went to ER. For 3 days, it was really touch and go. Mm-hmm. And the doctors were telling myself it was COVID. And so the kids were not allowed to come into the hospital. We weren't allowed to have any visitors. It was unlike any hospital floor I've ever seen before. Patients stayed in their rooms. Nurses were scrubbing up in between going into rooms, and it was really hard. But for 3 days, I was told that I would not make it. And for 3 days, they were telling my kids by telephone that your mom's not going to make it. And then on the third day, they said, hey, you just, you're going to make it, you're going to be fine. And they said,
well, when that was all going on, her stepmother messaged me. No, it wasn't. It was her Aunt Joyce. Her Aunt Joyce messaged me, Teresa, don't get scared, but Shelly's had a stroke and it doesn't look good. Sorry, I didn't want to do that. This is my best friend. I love her to death, and that scared me beyond. And I'm in Tennessee. She's in Ohio. Were you in the hospital? California. I couldn't just get up and go, even though how bad I wanted to.
And they wouldn't have let you in anyway. And I couldn't have gone. My kids were sitting in the car in the parking lot for days.
The whole time she's in the hospital, I had this. I didn't let go of it because I was constantly with her aunt and her stepmom. I was constantly messaging. What did you hear? What did you hear today? What did you hear this? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take over, but that scared me. That scared me.
We were all scared, and rightfully so. But then on the third day, our prayers were answered, and the doctors came in and said, hey, you're going to be fine. And they started to open the blinds a little bit and let other nurses in. And a nurse came in and she said, hey, we heard you're going to be fine. Would you like to go to stroke camp? And I said, stroke camp? What's stroke camp? I never heard this. And they said, it's a camp for people who've survived strokes. And I said to the nurse, am I going to survive this stroke? Because for 3 days, you've been telling me, get your affairs in order. You're going to not make it.
Yeah.
And I said, when is the camp? And they said, oh, it's in the summer. And I said, will I be alive in the summer? Like, I really didn't know. Mm-hmm. Well, it was a miracle. And to try to make a long story short, where the stroke bled out in my brain caused a giant puddle of blood and a bruise. And everywhere the blood was touching my brain, that part of my brain didn't work. And the part of the brain that it was touching was the center of balance And so I had all my frontal lobe, I had my reasoning, I was still myself. I remained conscious and I remained Shelley the whole entire time,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
was kind of freaky because I knew everything that was going on. But every single thing that in my brain that controls balance was out of whack.
Yeah.
So the only way I can describe it, well, I've tried to describe it many ways, but if you've ever had two magnets and you try to put them together and when they line up, they click together. And I think that's how we live our lives every day. We know how to walk, we know how to talk, everything lines up. We can see the pair of scissors, we can cut,
Mhm.
everything matches up.
Mhm.
For me, it was like when you turn the magnets so the polars are opposite
Mhm.
and you try to get them to meet and they
And they
won't,
won't.
and there's
Yeah.
like this force that
Mhm.
keeps making them go off balance.
Yeah.
I could feel from my skull down my spine everything trying to balance and trying to line up, but nothing quite matched.
Mhm.
So I basically did not know where my body was in relationship to the world. And so I would go to scratch my nose. I could feel my nose itchy, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, there's my nose. I found my nose. Sometimes I'd find my nose, and I didn't think I found my nose. I didn't know which way they would say, get in
Mhm.
bed. I would see the bed, and I would say to myself, okay, that way is up, the bed is down, and I would go to fall in the bed, but I would maybe fall this way. I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Yeah.
So everything was off. We had speech therapy. Speech
There.
therapy. I can't say speech therapy. I had speech therapy come to the house.
That was the perfect timing right there.
That was. And physical therapy and occupational therapy and
Mhm.
everything was done in house. And I had to learn how to do everything over again. Although my mind knew how to do everything, I knew how to say
Your
everything. I
body
knew
wouldn't do what your
right.
mind was telling you.
And I
Yeah.
actually have like notes that I wrote in that
Mhm.
first couple weeks, and it looks like maybe your kindergarten class or your second
Oh
grade kid.
yeah.
Like I
Huh.
couldn't find where the paper was
Yeah.
to put the pen on the paper. So
Yeah.
one of the things that they told me in occupational therapy was, can you crochet or cross stitch? Well, I couldn't cross stitch because the center of balance was affecting my vision and all my vision was blurry or I was seeing double. And I said, well, I think I could crochet with my eyes closed.
Mhm.
I wasn't making a masterpiece. I
Yeah.
was just going to
Just
crochet.
simple. Yeah.
And I said, well, what does that do? And they said, oh, just start crocheting and just see. It really helps a lot of people. There's a lot of reasons behind it, a lot of medical reasons, a lot of scientific
Mhm.
data that proves how it connects the brain. So I had to learn while my bruise was being reabsorbed into my body and the blood was not putting pressure on my brain, other parts of my brain were trying to figure out how to do things differently. And
Mhm.
crocheting helped me get that back. So I got
Yeah.
the needles out. I had some of my grandma's needles. I had
Mhm.
some of my needles, and I got some old ratty yarn that I don't know, like red and green from Christmas
Yeah.
1982, whatever I had. And
Yep.
I just started crocheting. And then I think the kids were buying me yarn. They were going to
Mhm.
thrift stores and getting bags of yarn, and I just
Mhm.
started crocheting. And I have not stopped in a year and maybe 10 months.
Mhm.
But I was back to driving in like 4 months. My speech is almost all the way back. Every now and then I say
I
something.
I tell her this is, and I'm not trying to be. I don't want anybody to think, well, that's horrible. Don't say that. But she was saying all these things like, I can't. The words don't come out right.
Oh, I walk
Every
into a
time
room
I
and I
say
can't
something, I
remember
can't. And
why.
I said, well, I haven't had a stroke, and I do that.
So every
I
symptom,
mean, if
every
we have to
symptom.
be funny and laugh,
Well, we do.
we go
You
through
have
things.
to.
We use humor to get
But
through
every
stuff.
symptom I
So,
had that I was telling
but
Teresa, my brain just doesn't work. I can't,
mhm.
I don't know what's going on, and my feet aren't going the right place, and my words aren't coming out correctly, and the order in which I say things are backwards. And Teresa's like, I do all those things, and I
Yeah,
haven't had a
and I
hemorrhagic
haven't had a
stroke.
stroke. So that was our
So
way of laughing at it. But
we laughed at everything.
yeah.
And I remember one time in the hospital, one of the neurosurgeons came in and said, "Hey, I hear we don't have to do surgery on you. The third day, you just it all started stopped bleeding, started healing." He goes, "I don't want to go into the scientific and medical
Yeah.
terms. You wouldn't understand, but you're going to be okay."
Mhm.
And it was amazing. And
Yeah.
so, um,
How long after your stroke was it that Matt and I came up to visit?
February 6th of 2021, you came
And we
in
came,
October. No, When did you come?
We can't. I think Matt and I said it's been 2 years since we've been there. So that would have been
You've never been
20.
there. You've never been there.
No, when it's been two. It's from today. It's been 2 years ago since our visit.
Oh,
Is what I meant.
so 1 year. I was.
This is what we do, guys.
Yeah. So I had the stroke February 6th. She came out about a year later.
Okay, so it was a year.
Yeah.
After, and I really didn't know what to expect when I saw her. I didn't know, I wasn't sure if all of her speech was back.
Was I still walking with the walker?
She was walking. Yeah, you were still walking with the walker.
I wasn't preparing any food. The kids were preparing all my food.
In my brain, what I was thinking of because my mother-in-law had a stroke. So I was kind of thinking and remembering how she was. And I thought, I'm going to have to really pay attention when she's trying to talk to me, because she's not going to be able to talk to me.
Because she's never paid attention to me when I talked before.
We're going to be at the house the whole time because she can't walk. She can't go anywhere. But I was going to be there for my friend, and we were going to have a good time. It didn't matter.
And Matt came too.
And yeah, my son. But when I got there, I was blown away at how it was completely opposite what I thought. She was walking with a walker, but she was walking. We went to a park there. They're in Northern California. So we went to a Big Trees Park and saw some of the
National
sequoias.
Forest.
We saw the sequoias, and we walked around the whole park.
Wait a minute. I was
in
a wheelchair.
I opened the door on this one.
I was in a wheelchair because I didn't think I could walk with the walker with all the pine cones and the big branches and everything. Mm-hmm. So my son says, I have two sons, and they said, Mom, you go in the wheelchair and we'll push you in the wheelchair. And I'm like, okay. And Matt the Rat, Matt, we
called him Matt the Rat. Yeah,
Matt the Rat was there too. And he's like, yeah, Aunt Shelly, I'll help push you too. You'll be fine. So about halfway through, I was getting in and out of the wheelchair, looking at things and taking pictures. And Teresa's like, man, my hips are really bothering me. Like, can I sit in your wheelchair? I need your wheelchair. So
yeah. At that time, I couldn't hardly walk without my hips killing and knees killing me. Not so bad now because I've started getting chiropractic care, but yeah. So my dear, wonderful best friend that I love to death, who had the stroke, and here I am telling her, I need to use the wheelchair.
Can I use your wheelchair?
So we would swap out the wheelchair. But we made it, and she was getting around the house really good. A lot better than I thought. She was talking, and we decided to work on a project together.
Well, she also, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
She also didn't know that I'd been crocheting like a maniac. Like I found the wattle stitch, and I knew how to do a few things, but I didn't want to do things that I knew how to do. I wanted to do things that were hard, that were challenging, that would make me get better. Like I thought, I could do a chain as long as the house, like I did for my grandma, but is that really going to make me get better?
Yeah.
So I was like, challenging myself. And I was Googling, and I started to find all these crochet sites, and the wattle stitch I fell in love with. So I started making what I called a scrap again. It's all my scraps in afghan. And I don't know if that's been, that word's been invented, but
that's what they call them. They call them scrapagans.
Yeah. I invented that. Oh well. So I made two of them, one with Dr. Seuss colors and one with all my other scrap colors. And then I said, Teresa, have you ever heard of Bonnie Bay? And she does all Celtic designs. So I'm Scottish. I'm like, I want to do a Celtic purse. And then I said, Teresa, let's just, I think we were there for 10 days.
We were there 10 days,
on the second day, I'm like, we have enough time to crochet something.
We went yarn shopping we went to Joann's.
Yeah.
Went yarn shop.
We should have Michaela go get
yarn shopping. Do you mind Michaela going down and getting it? Her daughter's sitting right over here off camera. Do you mind? I think you guys may have seen it in videos before, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. You can't miss it. But we want to show you, and you'll probably go, "Oh yeah, seen that." But I'm gonna show you anyway. It was the mandala. I don't know if you say mandala or mandala. I've heard it both ways, but it's like that motif. Each motif,
mandala, square.
Yeah, and she worked on one and I worked on one, so we would both have one to remember our trip from. And she, I'm crocheting away, and okay, Trace, how to do this. And she had to take her time doing it because
Because
she's trying to
every
learn.
row of the granny square was a different stitch, and I only knew how
But
to do
she
the
was doing
chain,
so good with
the
it.
double crochet, the granny square, which I don't think there's very many granny squares in that.
There's not. It's
But yeah.
just it's mandala, but it's yeah, this one.
Thank you, Michaela.
We got this. We chose the same colors. We did the same colors and everything, and this is what we worked on together, and we each made this blanket.
So I had the stroke, and a year went by, and Teresa came to visit. I also was not aware that Teresa, and I call it finding your true passion in life. I mean, other than your family and God,
Yeah.
crocheting, I have not seen my friend this passionate about anything like crocheting before. She loves it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that she was going crazy crocheting. She didn't know that I'd been doing it like my kids would do impersonations of me.
Yeah.
Mom's crocheting. And what I would do is I would try to get back on the computer and do computer things, QuickBooks, payroll, things like that. And I just couldn't follow line to line on the QuickBook page. And I would say, I need to crochet. And I would go sit in my recliner and I would crochet for about an hour and a half. My brain would calm down. I could focus on one thing at a time. I don't have ADD or ADHD, so I've never known what that's like to live with that. But I knew what it was like to be completely off balance, not be able to read a line of text and then know where the line was below. I would read the line 3 lines above or the same line over or backwards. So I would go do crochet for an hour and a half, and then I do QuickBooks. Well, now the month comes around, it's time to do water testing. So the water testing paperwork is intense. It's regulated by the state. I'm like, how do I fill out this form in triplicate? I'm going to go crochet for about 2 hours. And I would go and crochet.
Yeah.
And then I'd go back and I'd do this very complicated paperwork. And Teresa's like, you're doing what? And so I was telling her, and I was showing her, oh, I did this for a scrap. And I would just find a ball of yarn that the kids got me from Goodwill. I would Google some stitch, the Suzette stitch, the triple crochet, the front post back. What's the front post back post?
Yeah, that's what we're doing on the basket for the
cable
owl.
stitch. All these things, I had to like learn how to do them, but I was already trying to learn how to speak again and how to walk again. And it was helping calm everything about me that was off balance. And I don't know how it did that, but it did. And my physical therapist and my occupational therapist and my speech therapist all told me it would be great. And so when we were picking out the colors, I'm still seeing double a little bit and seeing when we did this. But we looked at several different patterns and we're like, this describes our personality.
Yeah. Our colorful personality.
Crazy enough that it is ours. So this is Teresa's.
Yeah.
And there are 12 squares.
There's 12.
Teresa said, okay, Shelly, we're going to do this so you can do it. And we're going to do it like an assembly line. So we made 12 little rosettes and we put them in a little pile like coasters. And I would say, okay, I got it. And they were all different colors. This one's.
And she'd work on her 12.
And I'd make my 12. Now I would be working on maybe my 8th or 9th one. And Teresa's already doing the second one.
Second or third.
All her.
Yeah.
But I am not.
But that's okay.
So she went at her when you can't learn by reading. Is that a name? Like I can't learn by reading a book.
Well, you're not. You're a visual.
I'm a visual learner.
You're a visual learner. You can't. You don't just. Read.
I couldn't read a pattern book and make anything.
You learn by watching people, and that's what I did. I had to watch. I watched YouTube videos to learn to crochet because I'm a visual learner, so I had to actually see them doing it to know what to do. So.
And that's how I had the best teacher and the best friend sitting beside me for 8 days saying, this is how you do it. And I was remembering muscle memory. I knew how to hold my yarn and I knew how to hold my hook. I don't know how that came back. But anyway, she would show me how to make this and I would look at the pattern book. I'm like, how did you get that? How did you get those steps from the pattern? And she goes, this is what it says and this is what it means. And so she taught me SC stands for single crochet, all these things.
Yeah.
And then we had 12 little stacks and our coasters were bigger. And then she would work on this stitch and she would say, this is exactly how you do it. And you were always about 5-6 squares ahead of me. And after the 8 days, which is a total of 10 days, Teresa went home with a completely
We
finished
finished
half
them.
again.
We finished them in 10 days. I couldn't believe we finished that in 10 days.
I didn't finish mine all in 10 days. I still had,
Yeah.
what did I still have? The navy blue trim and the border to do.
Yeah, I think you just had maybe just a, yeah, you're right. You had this blue around each one
But
and
because you had
connecting
done it
them.
ahead of me, I just got on the phone with her. I still had the pattern paper in front
Hmm.
of me, but we got on the phone. I'm like, Teresa, what's the
But yeah,
pattern mean?
but I think the way it was, because I showed you what everything meant in a pattern and how to
Mm-hmm.
read it, by the time I had to leave and you were on your own to finish it, you were able to read that pattern and
Yes.
you were able to figure it out.
And
You
now I
did
can
call
read
to
more
ask me
patterns.
questions, but you still figured out a lot of it. But yeah,
So
so
completely two different medical issues, both dealing with neurological
right.
deficiencies.
Hmm.
Teresa's the worst pain you can ever imagine,
Yeah.
and mine being completely off balance in my vision, my smell. I would smell things that weren't in the room. I wouldn't smell things that were right in front of me. Candles.
Hmm.
My touch texture was off.
Yeah.
Um, everything was off.
Yeah.
But somehow crocheting does something for your soul and your brain
Hmm.
that you can't quite explain it.
Exactly. It brings friends together. Um, it's helped me to connect with all of you that I wouldn't have known otherwise. So, and it's just a great community
Mm-hmm.
of people, and that we and to feel comfortable enough to share these things with each other. And I just hope, maybe it'll help somebody that's watching this. That's
Well,
what I'm thinking. If it'll help somebody watching this video, or some of you may know somebody who's had a stroke or is having trouble with anxiety
or had any kind
or
of PTSD, any type of
anything
brain injury
that
on a
they can
trampoline
yeah,
or a car accident where they're just feel like something's a little off,
but
and that's so stressful.
mhm.
And it's like the crocheting, even if you don't know exactly what's happening, the crocheting centers you.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
I've actually thought, um, you know, you can really try to empathize and you can really try to put yourself in other people's shoes.
yeah.
And there are some times where you just can't really do it until it
Mhm.
happens to you.
Mhm.
And I have a whole new different understanding and respect for people that have
Yeah.
strokes, brain
Or that deal with
hemorrhages,
chronic pain.
that deal with chronic pain. And
It's yeah.
um, I've actually been kind of stocking up on hooks. And I've thought there are times when something happens to someone and you take them something to eat or a casserole or a card or with flowers. And I think now I'm going to give everybody like 2 crochet hooks, a G and an H, and like 4 skeins of yarn, and
So
say,
here, practice.
here, just make a chain stitch. I'll help you.
Yeah,
And I think that's going to be my get well gift for people from now on.
that's neat. I like that. So, well, it's been about 30 minutes we've been on here, but we just really wanted to share how crochet has helped us, and I wanted you to meet my best friend because she means the world to me. I love her, and I'm so glad she's here. And
I'm
I
a
wanted you guys to meet her.
subscriber. Was I subscriber number 13? I think
I
I
don't
was,
remember. It might have been. I don't
because my
know. I don't
mother's
remember.
maiden name was Friday.
Yeah.
And so the 13's always been a lucky number. We don't really believe in luck,
Yeah.
but we just say that's our lucky number. So I remember I waited and waited and waited till I could be subscriber number 13. But I didn't think it was possible for us to be any closer than we've been our whole entire lives.
Yeah.
But leave it to Crazy Crochet
Okay. Yep.
to do that for us.
So yeah. So thanks, Shelly, for doing this with me. And I hope you guys have an amazing Thursday. I'm hoping to be back on Friday, but we'll see. And they're going home Friday morning, so maybe I can get a video out Friday afternoon. And so you guys have a terrific Thursday, and thanks for watching.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Right,
To
hit that
Chris
right,
Crochet.
and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any videos.
Ding dong.
Ding dong. So we should do commercials.
We could talk for 30 more minutes, but we have to stop
we
the
have
video.
to get done. So
We're gonna stop the video, but we will keep talking.
yes,
Ourselves, yes.
yeah, we probably will. So anyway, love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting me in this channel. Remember, share this with your friends because when we get to the 500 subscribers, I'm doing another awesome giveaway. Okay? So have a great Thursday. Enjoy your day, And I will see you again later. Bye,
Bye.
guys.